Hello, everybody, and welcome to Finding the Guardian of Your Soul. I am going to hop into Facebook. They don't make this easy anymore. And I want to share this broadcast with a few of my pages. So I do apologize if you could bear with me just for one moment. I am going to do that. All right. So here we are. Looking good. And then I am going to come here and share this to a few of my groups, just so everybody can see it. So if you can, just bear with me for a moment. Uh, let's see here. Let's go into dating without drama. A lot of drama in that group. Let's see here. I have a lot of groups. I'm going to share it with my uh, some of the women in my program, so that's good. Just bear with me. This should only take a minute, and we will be good to go. A couple more shares here. Go in there. And I am going to come into, I think that may be it. All right, we're good to go. Sounds great. So, hello, everybody. I'm Lisa Shield, and I want to welcome you to Finding the Guardian of Your Soul. I am your host. I have been a love coach for well over 2 decades. I have helped thousands of women find guardian of their soul relationships, and I would love to help you. So please stick around, listen to this broadcast today. Our topic, or my topic, is I am going to discuss 3 specific dating challenges successful women face and how to overcome them. So I know how difficult it is to find love when you have a thriving career. And making time for dates is really tough. And, they don't often go well. So you start to wonder if it's even worth trying. And I've been there myself. But here's the thing, you are a woman who's worked very, very hard to get to where you are. And you know that you deserve a wonderful partner, somebody who gets you there, who's your rock, your shoulder to lean on, that guy to come home and tell about your day, somebody to share a beautiful bottle of wine with, or just on a Sunday afternoon to say, hey, you want to go out and grab dinner? Somebody to walk hand in hand with, side by side through life with, somebody to make wild, passionate love with, someone to tell you how beautiful you are and how proud he is of you. That and so much more is what a guardian of your soul will bring to your life. And the truth is, you don't want to go through life alone. The thing is, you're mind boggled because you can't understand how you could be so successful in your career and be struggling to find love. Why doesn't that success translate from your work life, your career life, to your love life? It just doesn't make sense because you're the kind of woman who can do anything you put your mind to. And the worst part of all is that the more successful you become, the more men seem to feel intimidated by you. And that is probably one of the most disheartening things of all, because here you are, you're building this amazing career, and you would think that it would help you. It would be a benefit and help you attract even more amazing men. And instead, it seems like the higher you go, the less men there are that are interested in dating you. So I just want you to know that you are not alone in all of this, but overcoming these challenges isn't as complicated as you might think. And I want you to get that there is a solution to this. You don't have to give up on love and throw your love life away. You can get this solved. And as I said, it's not as complicated as you think to do that. Now, it may seem hard because, on top of everything else you have to do, throwing dating into the mix and trying to figure this out, short of hoping for a miracle, isn't easy. Even if you read books and watch YouTube videos and attend workshops and seminars, it isn't always easy to translate all of that into dating in real time, sitting across from a great guy and being in your feminine and knowing how to ask for what you want in a feminine way. So that is what I can show you how to do, not just give you the information. Information is not transformation. I can actually help you apply this in real time in your life so that you can get real results. So let's talk about these three challenges. Are you ready? Ready for that? All right, everybody. Excuse me a little bit. It's allergy season here in Santa Fe. Uh, we've got lots of pollen in the air, and you may hear me clear my throat from time to time. So I just want to warn you in advance that they said when you move to Santa Fe, you will get allergies, and they weren't kidding. So we just deal with it. Um, so the first issue for smart, successful, career driven women when it comes to dating is time management, right? As I said a moment ago, how do you fit this into your busy schedule? You've got kids, you've got maybe aging parents that you're dealing with, you've got your friends, you've got your work life, which is demanding, right? Maybe you travel for your career. Like most of our highly successful clients have a very, very hard time fitting dating into the mix, right? They just find it daunting. You work long hours, as I said, you travel frequently, and more than anything, you may be in a very high pressure job where you have a lot of responsibilities, and that just doesn't leave you much bandwidth for dating, right? Meeting potential partners and nurturing a new relationship. And the pressure of all of that can lead you to rush your dates, to cancel plans, and have a sense of guilt. You may go on a date and you're sitting across from a guy, and you're really sitting there thinking about all the things you should be doing and how you'd rather just be at home with your kids or with your dog, recouping so that you can be ready for tomorrow, the big meeting that you have or the big presentation that you have to make. And so it leads to feelings of guilt and conflict and not really being able to be present on your dates. Some of you don't even realize when you go on a date that you're not with that guy sitting across from you. You're not even giving him a chance because you're so in your head thinking about other things. You want to date, but you also feel that you can't go on a date and be your fun, playful self. And you know that that's really what you have to do if you're going to attract these high caliber guys. They don't want women who are in their heads and who are thinking about work. They want a woman who's relaxed, who's chill, who can laugh, who can connect, who's in her heart. And with your work pressures and all the other things you have going on, it can feel almost impossible to do that. And the other thing that really gets old is that juggling act that you have to do, right? You've got to juggle work and kids and your aging parents and all the other things that you have going on in your life. And it really does make you question whether or not you can have both a truly fulfilling career and a loving relationship. And it feels like one of those things has to give. Either you're going to focus on your relationship and meet a great guy, or you have to give your all to your career, but you can't have both. So let's talk about the solution. What do you do with all this pressure? What do you do? Of course, many of you are even suffering from burnout. And the thought of adding one more thing on your plate is just, it, you're at your breaking point. And here's the thing that I really want you to get. You're having burnout. And one of the reasons for that for many, many single women is because they don't have a partner. They don't have a shoulder to lean on. They don't have a wonderful man in their lives to partner with and share responsibilities. And so they're doing everything. They're burning the candle at both ends and they're just exhausted. And so it sounds counterintuitive, but the very thing you don't have is the thing you need most, a partner. So, how do you do this? The first thing is you have to make small, consistent steps over time. Small, consistent steps. You don't have to dive in and go on 3 dates a week and communicate with 100 guys at once. You need to do this incrementally. You need it's small steps, consistent steps over time. And when you do that, eventually you look back and you say, wow, I went on 4 dates this month. 4 dates. I did a date a week. I'm proud of myself. You don't have to go on a date every night. Even if you went on 1 date or 2 dates, if that's more dates than you've been on in the past year, that would be an accomplishment. So you don't wanna set yourself up to fail by making these big commitments that you know you can't keep. You wanna make this manageable because small, consistent effort over time, you'll look back and realize, "Wow, I went on 20 dates this past year." And that will be a tremendous accomplishment. You also want to admit that you really want this. So, another way to really support yourself and commit and keep showing up for yourself is to admit to yourself that you really do want a partner and that you don't want to go through life alone. And you can put post its up on your mirror, inside your closet door, but little reminders on your refrigerator to remind you. Spend a half an hour online tonight. I'm committed to finding my guy. I really want to have a partner. Just little post-its, little reminders all over your house, right? To remind you of how important this is and that you really want this. And of course, any busy professional, career driven woman knows that if you're going to fit something into your schedule, you got to get it on your calendar. So you want to time block and put space on your calendar to date. Maybe you'll pick 2 nights that will be your official date nights, one night on the weekend and one night during the week. You want to get together a list of babysitters or people you can call to watch your kids if you need to do that so that you don't have to scramble if you do find yourself being asked out on a date. And you want to keep those 2 nights free for that. So if you have some nights slated, for the next month, then you want to make sure that you don't fill those in with a dinner with a girlfriend or going over to see your friends or spending time with your kids. You want to commit that these will be times for dating. And if you don't have a date on those nights, then you can journal, you can read a book about dating, you can get online or on an app and you can start swiping or messaging with guys. If there's nobody you're interested in, you can commit to reaching out to 5 guys a week who interest you. And I'm not talking about reaching out and giving them a wink or a smile or a like. You want to reach out with a really flirty, fun, vivacious, irresistible message or text that says something like, Where'd you get that Hollywood smile with a wink? Or what's a girl like me got to do to get a message or a text from a guy like you? Those kinds of messages are playful, they're fun, they're out of the box, and they get responses. You do not want to say, I saw your profile and I think we have a lot in common, want to chat. That isn't going to get a response. You want to do something fun and flirty. And if you can't come up with something or you don't like my suggestions, all you have to do is go on ChatGPT. You put in, give me 10 fun, flirty, slightly sexy uh, opening lines to grab a man's attention on a dating app. And it will pop out 10 really funny, flirtatious, slightly sexy uh, suggestions. And if you don't like those, ask for 10 more. But you can do this. So commit to dating, block out some time on your calendar and make sure that you commit to using that time, whether you go on a date or you do some other dating related activity. There are also a lot of meetups now. There are meetup dinner groups, and there are game nights. If you're younger, there are game nights for some of the younger people. But there are a lot of in-person events now. So if you're not, if you don't have a date lined up, look online to see if there's some kind of a live event that you can attend. So let's go to challenge number 2. I'm Men find me too intimidating. Look, as you climb the corporate ladder, you may feel that your dating pool is shrinking. And I get it. You are a smart, successful woman. You have a beautiful home, lovely car, you got great friends, you can pretty much do what you want in life. And you want a partner who matches or exceeds your level of ambition and achievement, right? But here's the truth. There are men who are going to feel intimidated by your success, right? Or they may struggle with traditional gender roles. I mean, there's a lot of men who are with women who don't match their level of success, and they may feel that that is an unreasonable expectation on your part. Maybe they're great guys, but they just don't match your level of your financial success or your career success. They may be very successful in their career. They may have reached the top of their career, but it still may not be on par with yours. And there are men who just are not where they want to be in their careers. So they may find a very high powered woman intimidating, and they're not your guys. You just have to face that. Um, but there are men who will not be intimidated by your success. There are plenty of those guys out there, and we're going to get to them in a minute. Being in a scarcity mindset leads many smart, successful women to feel frustrated and lonely. And they start to wonder if they're going to have to lower their standards or just stay single, right? Are they going to have to settle? Or are they just going to have to be single for the rest of their lives because they're too successful and men are intimidated by them? So, what is the solution? How do you solve this? Because you certainly aren't going to give up your career. I'll tell you, I was listening to an old recording of an interview that I did with one of my former clients who's now with a wonderful man. And she actually said, Lisa, I was so frustrated by the men I was meeting because I wasn't meeting men on my level. And she said, I almost bought a second car, like a less expensive car, so that when I drove up to the date, they wouldn't feel intimidated. Can you imagine? That's just unthinkable that a woman of her caliber and her success would have to do that. And of course she didn't. And she joined my course and she's now with the love of her life. but that's how she was feeling, and I'm wondering if many of you, some women in our courses have said, "I don't even bring a man to my house because once they even hear what part of town I live in, they're already intimidated and put off." So you do not have to dumb yourself down or act, or be less than who you are. That's not at all what we're talking about in any way, shape, or form. But you do need to get real about this. And I really want you to think about what I'm about to say because this should be a revelation for many of you. You may not like it, you may not want to hear it, but it's true. Men and women seek very different things in a partner. Men and women seek very different things in a partner. So while successful women want a man who matches their success and ambition, that's not what most men are seeking. They're not looking for that. So highly successful men who are at your socioeconomic level, your level of success financially and otherwise, they're not necessarily looking for successful women. If you were to look at a successful man's top 5, a successful woman who matches him financially would not be on that list. Do you get that? So the men that you're looking for are not necessarily looking for the qualities in you that you may think he's looking for. Successful men are looking for different qualities in a woman, in a partner. Now, that doesn't mean you can't be successful, but you need to focus on cultivating those other qualities that you may not be focusing on. You're focusing so much on your career that you're missing the most important thing here. And I'll get in 1 second into what those things are. You don't need to settle, but you do need to ask yourself, what does the kind of man I'm looking for want in a partner, in a woman, in the kind of woman he's looking for? And you're looking for very different things. So, what you need to do, ladies, you need to embrace your feminine essence. Highly accomplished, quality men aren't being turned off by your success, they're turned off by your masculine energy. They don't want a man in a woman's body. They want a feminine woman who's playful and sensual and brings out their masculine side. They don't want to go on a date and sit across from a woman who's in her head. They want to sit across from a woman who's in her heart. And yes, a successful man is going to admire your success. He will respect a successful woman. But that's not what he's looking for in a partner. More than anything, he wants to have a woman who's playful and fun and sensual, who he can laugh with and play with. That's what these high caliber men are looking for. And many of you are so in your heads because you spend time in a masculine world, in a masculine mindset. Masculine traits are lauded. They're what is most revered, most respected in the world. Being being a go-getter, having a plan, being a leader, right? Going for what you want. We don't hear people talking about how beautiful it is to be soft and feminine and nurturing and heartfelt and intuitive. But this is what real men are looking for in a partner, a woman who's in touch with her feminine essence, her feminine side, because that's what brings out his masculine side. And so these men, these confident, highly successful men, are not intimidated by your success. That's ridiculous. they're turned off by your masculine energy. So you can be strong and smart and successful and still be feminine. And that's what we can show you how to do. That's the work I do with my clients in my emotionally naked dating course. So I can help you with this. Now, another thing that you really so let's talk about the third challenge for and the last one leads right into this one, emotional nakedness. You're worried that the men you're meeting aren't emotionally available. Honey, you need to look at your own emotional availability. So just because you can go out and be emotional or talk about emotional things with your girlfriend, that doesn't mean you're emotionally available to men. Some of you are reaching, for men with one hand and holding them at a distance with the other. And it's something that a lot of smart, successful women do. They're so afraid of being hurt or taken advantage of that they want a man, but they also distance themselves from men. And so being emotional is not the same as being emotionally available. A woman who is emotionally available knows how to ask a man for what she wants. And that isn't easy for a strong, smart, independent, successful woman. So, one of the things that happens is that the demands of a high powered career can sometimes lead to emotional disconnection or burnout. And that makes it challenging for women to be fully present and vulnerable in a romantic relationship or on a date. They're so burned out and exhausted that going on a date or having to be emotionally available for a partner is almost impossible because they're exhausted. They have nothing more to give. So, as a successful woman, you may also struggle just to switch off your personal identity, your personal, that professional persona, and open up emotionally on a date. It's not easy to go from, a really stressful day at work or a stressful day with your kids to then being on a date and being emotionally available with a man. Or you may just dump, right? You may just lose it. That's the other thing that a lot of you are afraid of. And that's not good either. And that's not really emotional availability. That's dumping, right? That's just using a guy as an emotional dumping ground. And we all know how well that goes, right? That's just going to alienate men and push them away. So either way, you're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. So balancing your professional strength with personal vulnerability, it's just this delicate act, and it can feel difficult when you're pursuing love. And probably what's even harder for a lot of you is you go on these dates and you want nothing more than to open up and connect emotionally at a deep emotional level with these men. And you don't even know how to do that. You don't know what to say, what's too much, what's too little, what you should talk about, what you shouldn't talk about. You really don't know how to connect at that deep emotional level with men. You do it with your girlfriends, but it's different with a man. Men have a different way of dealing with emotions. They have a different way of talking about emotions. And so it's not the same. And you can't go on dates and expect your girlfriends to be like your guy, a man on a date. You cannot have the same kind of conversation with a man on a date that you would with a girlfriend. You have to know how to talk to men. So let's talk about the solution. Let's talk about how you solve this, How do you learn to be emotionally available with men? Well, you need to learn how to take the feminine lead. And that means you need to learn how to ask for what you want without sounding needy, bitchy, demanding, or insecure. You can't be passive aggressive and expect men to read your mind and then get angry with them when they don't. You are a big girl. You are a grown up, and you need to learn how to ask a man for what you want. Men, if a man is really interested in getting to know you and getting close to you, he wants to know how to make you happy. But if you don't tell him and if you don't say it in an inviting, heartfelt way, he can't read your mind. He cannot guess at what you want. And he will throw mud at the wall, but he'll get it wrong. And then you'll just get more disappointed and more angry. And you'll say, gosh, you don't even know me. But he doesn't know you because you haven't told him who you are and what you want. And so many strong, successful women, career driven women, don't like to have to ask a man for anything. And part of that is you don't want to seem needy. But the other thing is you're afraid to do that because if you ask for something, it means you're inviting a man to come closer. You're inviting a man to do things for you, which means that he is ingratiating himself to you. And you don't know if you're comfortable with that or if you really even want that. And so, inviting a man to come closer and receiving something from a man then puts you in the uncomfortable position of feeling like you need to reciprocate. And many of you don't want to feel beholden to anyone. So that's something you have to look at. You have to start to learn to be receptive to men so that they can come closer, so that they can get to know you. Uh, to do this requires taking slow steps, small risks to share your heart with men. I remember once I had a breakthrough. I realized when I was dating my husband that he was so generous. We'd go out to these beautiful restaurants, and he was so sweet, so generous. And he would always get like the steak, he'd order the most expensive thing on the meal. And I would look at the prices and I didn't want to come across as, needy or somebody who would take advantage of a man. And so I would always order chicken or something that wasn't very expensive. And one day I realized that this was something that my mother had taught me to do, and I realized I just felt horrible, allowing a man to do something really nice for me. I was longing for a guy to wanna treat me like a queen and, do wonderful things for me, take me to dinner, take me on trips, buy me nice gifts and, you know, but I was pushing it away because a part of me didn't know how to receive from men. And so I realized the reason I had never really gotten what I wanted from men, why men had never treated me the way I wanted to be treated, was because I wasn't open to receiving from men. And so I actually went to Benjamin and I said, I just want to share something with you, and I was being vulnerable. I didn't have to tell him this, but I said, you've taken me on all these amazing dates. And I realized that I have a hard time receiving. And I know that you wouldn't care if I ordered the Chateaubriand, but I haven't felt like I could do that. I didn't feel that I was worthy of ordering the Chateaubriand. And he said, I would want you to have whatever you want. And I felt it really felt lovely just to have that conversation. And that was me getting emotionally naked. So that same New Year's Eve, Chateaubriand is a very old fashioned dish. And that same New Year's Eve, we went to this beautiful restaurant and Chateaubriand was on the menu. And without skipping a beat, the waiter came over and we were ordering. And Benjamin looked at him and said, "She'll have the Chateaubriand." And it was just lovely. So I had to open up. I wasn't receiving from men because I was pushing it away, not because men weren't being generous with me. And I had to look at that. Um, so you have to take small risks to get emotionally naked and share your heart with men and let men into your heart. You also need to learn how to talk about the things that are going on in your life and the things that have happened in your past with men in a way that makes you the hero of those stories rather than the victim. So it's one thing when you share stories and you are telling a man about the different experiences in your life and you make yourself into a victim rather than the hero of the story. So you can just as easily say, "Yeah, my husband cheated on me, with a younger woman and left me," or you can say, "My husband cheated on me with a younger woman." And as awful as that was, I really learned from that experience. I looked at my part. I realized the mistakes that I made, the choices that I made that contributed to this outcome, and I'm wiser for having gone through that. So there's the same experience, two different presentations. And finally, and this is the most important thing, anybody who's struggling, anybody who's out there struggling, any smart, successful woman who wants to up her game, if you were playing tennis and every tennis player has a coach, every person who excels in sports, Tiger Woods has a coach, Serena Williams has a coach. What's her name? Why can't I think of her name? The little gymnast that just won the uh, the Olympics. She has coaches. Anybody, any smart person who wants to excel, they don't reinvent the wheel. They know that great coaches have already figured this out. Not only have they figured it out, they've coached hundreds, if not thousands, of other people who are in the same boat successfully. They've taken them to the other side and gotten them the outcome that they want. So, why would you stay back there struggling and reading books and going to workshops and trying to figure this out on your own when you can hire an expert, somebody who's been doing this for almost a quarter of a century, who can take you by the hand and in a matter of months turn this around? I can teach you everything you need to know about this part of your life so that you can turn around 20 plus years from now like me and say, "Oh my gosh, I just spent over 2 decades with the guardian of my soul. I am the luckiest woman alive." How many women can say that? You do not have to do this on your own. I can show you how to get it solved. So please go to lisashield.com, click the button all over my website, watch my free 45-minute presentation. If you love this, you will love that. At the end, you can book a call with a member of my team, and she will help you decide if this is right for you. There's no obligation. Please stay to the end of that presentation because that's where you book the call. We want everyone to watch that presentation so that you can see my method, my approach, get a sense of who I am, and see if you like what you hear before you get on that call. I'm Lisa Shield. This has been Finding the Guardian of Your Soul. I hope you will also join me on Sunday mornings for Getting Inside the Right Male Mind. It's another subset of this same podcast. I do that with my amazing guardian of my soul, my husband, Benjamin. I set that up so that I could pick his brain because he has such a beautiful mind and he has an incredible, incredible way of expressing how quality men think and feel about women and dating and relationships and all. So please enjoy our former broadcasts, our former podcast episodes. You can find all of those, the links to every one of them on my website. Please give us a review on Amazon or wherever, Amazon, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. We love to hear from you. We also would love to get your suggestions. You can send them to podcast@lisashield.com. If there's a topic you would like for me to talk about, I would love to hear from you. And finally, tell your friends, your girlfriends, your colleagues, your sisters, your nieces, your mothers, everyone you know about this podcast. That's how we grow our audience. I send you so much love. I want you to know that there are amazing, amazing men out there, and I can help you find a true guardian of your soul to spend the rest of your life with. Thank you. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.